All right, welcome back, guys. So we're talking about units, and I was talking about percentage. And I say when you specify the height or width of a particular element in percentage, you are making that is relative to the parent element, right? Like when we said we have a div with a class of container, which is this, which is a direct child of the body element. Now, the body element represents the entire viewport. The entire viewport is the entire visible area of the screen. Cool. So now we give this container a width of 50%. So we're saying take 50% of the width of your parent element. The parent element is the body, which is the viewport. So we are saying take 50% of the viewport, and this is it. This is half of the width of the page. And now that div has a paragraph inside it. That paragraph, we say take 20%. So that 20% is going to be, sorry, 50% actually. So take a width of 50%. Now that is 50% of the div with a class of container, because the paragraph is inside the div that has a class of container. As you can see, there's a paragraph, and so it is taking 20%, sorry, 50% of the width. I mean, if we say take 100%, it's going to stretch through the entire width, as you can see. Okay, so that's the thing about percentage. Always know that it is relative to the immediate parent element. Now, there is viewport height and viewport width. That one is always relative to the viewport. So we can say 100 viewport width, right? Now this is the same thing as saying 100%, okay, because it stretches the entire viewport width. It is relative to the viewport. If we say this 50, let's keep this at 50%, because remember 50% is relative to the parent, so it will be 50%. Now what if we give this guy 100 viewports width? What do you think is going to happen? It's going to stretch. Now let's say we give this guy you know, let's say 50% or 50 viewports width. Okay, see what's going on here. So because viewport width is always relative to the viewport, so we give the child 100 viewport width and give the parent 50 viewport width, and you can see the parent took 50% of 50, or half of the width of the viewport, because we said 50. Now the child took the entire viewport because we said 100 viewport. So one viewport width is like 1% of the viewport. So 100 viewport width is like 100% of the entire viewport width. I hope that makes sense. And the same thing also applies with the height. When you're dealing with height, the same thing applies. So you have viewport height. All you have to do is just change this guy. Of course, the property in this case will now be height, and then you're saying 50 viewport height, just like that. So you know you're dealing with height now. Okay, just showing you that these are all relative CSS properties that you can use to make your website responsive. This will always adjust based on the size of the screen, because it is relative to the viewport, which is the size of the screen. So for bigger sizes, half of a big size will be obviously bigger than half of small size. And unlike when you use pixels is absolute. So when you use pixels, 50 pixels on a small screen is 50 pixels on a big screen. So if you do that, you would have cases where your website looks a particular way on a big screen and looks a particular way on a small screen. Like it doesn't create a responsiveness. But like I said, we're going to talk more about responsiveness later. Okay, so I just wanted you to have an idea of what these guys are. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to talk about more CSS concepts. See you then.